because we have lack of clarity as to what the heck is going on in the crypto asset industry, it looks like a very large crypto VC is deciding to open up offices overseas, which is something that we're going to see recurring, I think, for the next maybe until after election season. A16z is expanding to the UK. They have approximately 35 billion in assets under management across multiple different funds. And they said that the UK government is willing to create policies that encourage startups to pursue decentralization. The office is going to open up later this year, and it's going to be used to invest in crypto and startup ecosystems in UK and Europe. And I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more companies decide to do this. And the reason why they're not completely closing down US operations yet is there's still a glimmer of hope. I forget what that meme is where, bro, maybe there's a chance. But these companies are starting to hedge and look at options overseas, places where they're actually welcome so that they can continue to build and make money. And it looks like the United States is going to lose quite a bit of taxpayer revenue. Will, I want to get your take on this.
Yeah, this is big news, right? We've been talking about the UK for a little bit, and we've been talking about how they've been more friendly to crypto, especially with their new prime minister coming in late last year. And he said he was like pro Bitcoin, pro crypto, pro Web3. And a lot of politicians give lip service to emerging markets, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but quickly it seems that is being taken up by firms, and A16Z deciding to open up its second office ever is a big indicator of that. One thing that was in the article, you can read on CoinDesk.com talking about this, was the fact that there's been more unicorns out of the UK than there has been in a scattering of different European countries they're talking about, including something like Germany, which is a pretty big place for actually Ethereum development. A lot of the early Ethereum devs came out of Germany. So the fact that they're moving into this jurisdiction is an indicator of the growth in the past and also like the future of where this market is going to go. One note on this is we've been talking about the MiCA regulations that are just coming out right now, markets and crypto assets, which the EU has just passed. It took a very long time to create. A lot of people looked at that and they were like, hey, this is great for Europe. This is great for crypto developers to move here, to start setting up. We have regulatory clarity as opposed to the United States. But with Brexit, or a few years ago now, we know that those two jurisdictions are operating under different laws. The UK and the EU do not have the same crypto laws. And to see this happen in MiCA and then the UK right after makes me wonder how actual developers and founders are thinking of the MiCA rules. Why not just go to the UK if it's even more friendly over the US or EU? Zach, I'll throw it up to you.
Yeah, this is super interesting, and it puts a lot of weight behind some of these comments that we've seen from, Coinbase and Brian Armstrong and others in the space saying, hey, US, if you're going to be inhospitable, we're going to take our ball and go elsewhere. And so you see A16Z, which is obviously probably has the biggest amount of skin in the game as it relates to making Web3 a real thing, saying, hey, we're going to set up a major presence in the UK. And by the way, we're going to make a major investment in a UK crypto startup. So I think this actually lends weight and credence to the argument that I think a lot of people in the US are seeking. They want some leverage. They want to be able to say, hey, we're going to go elsewhere and do this, and the US might get left behind. In the post itself, they say, hey, we're committed to working with US policymakers. This is by no means, a full departure from the US, but it certainly, again, lends weight and leverage to these claims of being like, well, if it's going to continue to be inhospitable, and if we, can see the writing on the wall, we're going to go choose some different places elsewhere, whether that's the UK, whether that's France, whether that's the Middle East, whether that's Asia. There's all these countries that are emerging as, more regulatory friendly, more common sense regulation of this industry and these assets. So I think it does just, again, from a messaging and sort of narrative perspective, and lend a lot of weight to this idea that the U.S. crypto industry could just go elsewhere very easily and bring with it jobs, money, investment, and all the things that politicians really tend to care about. So that, to me, is sort of the big picture, but fascinating to see this. Also kind of interesting that it dropped overnight UK time, sort of the Sunday evening to get the sort of chattering classes going in the US, but in the middle of the night in UK, which I thought was interesting. And we've already seen a little bit of blowback from some prominent people in the UK who are not super duper happy with this. But Jen, I'll toss it to you for your thoughts.
Yeah, it was interesting to read this because the UK hasn't always been super friendly towards crypto, right? I think recently we spoke about how some lawmakers in the UK said that they were thinking about regulating crypto the same way that they were regulating gambling. And to see this really quick change and to see this group of lawmakers now say, we're looking at regulating crypto as a financial services. I think there was more than 50 recommendations in these new, in this new paper, I think is really interesting. And it shows that they see the value that Mika is bringing to Europe and they want to follow suit. I think at the beginning of May, some numbers came out that showed the share of VC investments into European crypto projects, and it's up almost like 10 times in 1 year. So in Q1 of 2022, the share was 5.9%, and that's up to 47.6% in Q2 of 2023. And so the truth is in the numbers, right? We're seeing the money go to Europe. We're seeing, more jobs being created in Europe as more startups are launched there and more people move off there. And so I think the proof is in the pudding, and it will be, I don't know what's going to happen in the US. It will be interesting to watch.
The next 2 years are probably we probably will not get clarity until after election season, in my opinion. So like 2 more years of this ridiculousness. And I probably should pull up a chart and look and compare what happened last halvening to see what we could expect. Because maybe this was not the bottom.
There's still time, Wendy. Bring your charts. Tell us.
That's a lot of work right now. It's a Monday
Not
morning.
now, later.
All right, later it is. I'll wrap it there. UK, an emerging force. Rishi, big time crypto bull. Interesting to watch.